So, welcome to week two of your Managing Diversity course. Uh, in week one, we looked at some categories of diversity. So, again, we have diversity based on your gender, we have sexual orientation, religion, we have disability identities, um, we have invisible disabilities, which we talked about, creed, color. Um, a lot of different diverse populations that exist within our companies. This week we're looking at some of the legislation around um sorry, I'm kind of navigating the course while I record this, but yeah, this week we're looking at some of the legislation around diversity uh in America and what should be protections for underrepresented and marginalized communities. One of the things I do want to point out is that when this course was first developed again, everyone seemed to be on board with diversity, equity, justice, inclusion initiatives. I mixed those up. It's justice, equity, diversity, inclusion initiatives, JEDI. Since then, as I've been checking the links in the course, I've gone through because I had some executive orders promoting Jedi in government and in workplaces, um, linked in the course under week two, and those links were actually taken down by the current administration. So again, I'm recording this in 2025, and I'm saying that I'm recording this in 2025 because I had videos before that I recorded that I used to reuse for this course, but I needed to redo the videos given the current climate and environment that we're in with DEI being under attack. Um, and so a lot of those links to executive orders are actually removed from government websites. And I'm sure if you've been watching the news, you would have seen on some particular websites historical perspectives relating to Black and Brown people and the historical oppression and marginalization that they face was erased. I'm not sure if it's been put back up yet. I need to go check because there was some uproar about it being taken down, but there was some systematic efforts to remove um, history surrounding Black people and other marginalized groups from government websites in 2025. So it's definitely interesting times that we live in. Before I briefly get into what we are going to, the topic of this week, I do want to mention that the objectives for this week are to analyze and describe laws that protect certain classes of people and identify and elaborate on diversity-related social issues that plague minorities and marginalized communities. For this week, the biggest area that I want you to know and focus on, I want you to read everything, of course, but I really want you to know about the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. And the EEOC um, is an agency in America that exists to investigate claims of discrimination within the government and within workplaces. And it existed to provide some type of legal and ethical protection of people from discrimination by their managers or by their peers in workplaces. I do want to, well, first let me mention that uh, under the EEOC, there's certain classes or categories of people that are considered protected. Um, and this is under the Title VII Act of 1964. And these protected classes are race, color, religion, sex, including pregnancy, sexual orientation, and transgender status, national orientation, age, it only applies to 40 or older, disability, and genetic information. So the EEOC exists to investigate claims of discrimination, again, under race, color, religion, sex, which includes pregnancy, sexual orientation, transgender status, national origin, age, if you're 40 or above, disability, and genetic information. All right. And let's take one of these, for example. How do you think folks may be discriminated by age, and why does it focus on 40 and above? I'll give you 1 second to think about it. Well, it usually focuses on 40 and above because that's the class of people that for a long time I shouldn't say for a long time, but they typically get excluded from certain jobs. So, they may say, hey, we live in a new AI, artificial intelligence environment, where we need folks with really technical skills in using AI. And they may think that younger populations, folks 39 and under, um, are better able to learn and utilize technological skills and technical skills in the workplace than folks 40 or older. Have you ever heard the term "you can't teach an old dog new tricks"? Kind of the same here. The notion may be that older folks are more reluctant to embrace new technologies and new strategies and new ways of doing things. And as research evolves, the way business is done evolves. And again, the notion is that older folks may not be so much on board. And we can also look at physical abilities. Folks may think, or there may be the notion that as folks get older, they can't do certain physical things in the office, like, maybe stand for long periods of time or walk for long periods of time. Um, they may be more prone to sickness. Um, a lot of different false narratives that exist around age, and that's why folks 40 and above are protected under the Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. That's just one example. We can go through and give a lot of other examples. Another one would be pregnancy. You're not allowed to discriminate um, against a woman that is pregnant. So, for example, if a woman is interviewing, you cannot ask her if she's pregnant or if she plans to have children and then make an employment decision based on that. That is discrimination, and that can be prosecuted under the EEOC and in civil court. All right, civil litigation. Um, and if a woman that's visibly pregnant interviews for a job. So obviously, when you do the initial screen-in, you won't know that a woman's pregnant. But if you invite this woman to an in-person interview, the interviewers may realize that she's pregnant if she's showing. Uh, the interviewers cannot make a decision of employment or to not employ that woman because she is pregnant. Um, Employers may be tempted to do that because when that woman gives birth, she will need some leave. And the notion again is you just hired someone to do a job because you have a need for someone to do that job, and this woman is immediately on leave. So then you have to pay someone on a temporary basis to come in and do the job that you hired that woman to do, and you're also paying that woman while she's on leave. So that's how it may be framed in the employer's mind, but that is illegal. Okay. Uh, Now, the problem with a lot of these, uh, which you will probably come across, especially as you do the assignments for this week, which include looking at cases on the EEOC website, the problem is that it is so very difficult to prove discrimination, unless it's blatant discrimination where someone curses at someone of a minority group or something very blatant and in your face and where others observe it. Outside of that, it is really difficult. For example, again, with the pregnant woman, how can you prove that the employer didn't hire that woman because she was pregnant, right? It is difficult to prove. And so that's what makes these cases so challenging to litigate. But it is possible to litigate them, and you'll explore that this week as you go through uh, this week's assignments. So again, this week, please review all the read-ins and resources that have been provided. I checked the links and all should be working. But if they're not, please definitely reach out to me so that I can fix them or find new resources. You'll have your week two discussion board, you have your week two written assignment, and your week two reflection video. I hope you learn a lot. And as usual, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns, or if you need any further resources to help you understand this week's materials.